So, welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some RPG horror stories. I got an extremely weird question, mostly because a buddy of mine pointed it out. I didn't tell many people that I'm even doing this thing, but the ones that I did kind of did point out that I'm, I guess, a D&D VTuber. Am I a VTuber? Here's a question for you. Am I a D&D VTuber? If you don't know what a VTuber is, man, it's actually really difficult to explain. Look up what a VTuber is and then tell me in the comment section. I'm gonna go ahead and get to RPG horror stories for today. Tried playing D&D with my friends. Went hilariously wrong and frustrating. I don't know if this is a horror story. Most of the time I was just laughing out of frustration. It was not just the session, but everything leading up to it. All of us are in college and none of my friends had played D&D before. I tried playing with another group, but things went south and I left the group. My friends have no idea what D&D is. They just knew it's a board game of sorts. They were interested in playing because Baldur's Gate is getting popular. None of them have played it, they just know it's popular. None of them have played any game beside FIFA, COD, or Overwatch. Also, one of them has watched Vox Machina, the animated show, but not the D&D campaign. To be frank, I've seen a lot of people getting super excited about trying D&D after seeing Vox Machina. I mean, clearly Vox Machina is an animation, right? And it's not the D&D campaign. After you watch Vox Machina, you go, there's a game where I can make somebody like Grog. I love Grog. I want to make somebody like Grog. Grog sounds fun. I want to be a barbarian. If you're excited for it, you're excited for it. And if you want to try something new, I say go for it. Whether it be a TTRPG, video game, or whatever. Expand your horizons, try new things, and see what they're like. I knew I needed to help them all with their characters, but I was really underprepared. One of them started arguing that he played characters with no powers, but he'll get to become the most powerful thing in the world for 5 seconds every week. Another sent me a picture of medieval Batman and said he'll play as him. Oh god, now I just want to see medieval Batman for real. I really want to see medieval Batman so badly. Also, the other one, I mean, that's barbarian right there. You go into rage, you become super powerful, and then after rage, I mean, you're so strong, just not as powerful. I don't know. The third didn't even start working on his character until a few minutes before session, when he googled most OP build for D&D and brought a printed character sheet of a level 18 druid. Most OP character. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, if you've never played D&D, right, you probably think, oh, it's an RPG. Like, you know, what's a good build and stuff. And then you just Google to find the build that's like the most optimal and everything. But there's so many optimal builds in D&D. But the whole point of D&D is not optimal builds. It's about just, you know, making a story and stuff. Probably should have sat him down and let him know, like, hey, don't really worry about like builds and everything, most powerful builds. It's the process, it's the journey, it's like playing Skyrim, except there's a lot less limits and there's more things you can do because there's more creativity to it and there's a storytelling aspect to it. You know, just kind of start them off with training wheels. Or you could have ran a module. A lot of modules are very new player friendly and stuff, and you can just use one of the modules out there to run. That could have worked probably best. D&D is not going to be for everybody, let's be honest. TTRPGs in general are not going to be for everybody, and just because it looks exciting doesn't mean like the player is going to be really fun to play with, because we read a lot of stories on here where the player, the problem player, was probably a decent person outside of TTRPGs, but then was a complete menace in the TTRPG itself. So it's not for everybody, but I mean, everybody's welcome to try it. Still, I made all their characters, explained them how the game works, and we started the session. It was clear that they hadn't listened, as they started a bar fight immediately with the patrons. One of the players went down, another said he'll grab the food from the table and shove it down his throat to get his health back. Like in Skyrim, when you like hurt and you just start eating just gourds of cheese just to get your health back. The third asks us if he could turn into a dinosaur because the bard in the show turned into one, and he was also a bard. Everyone kept laughing anytime one of us tried to talk like the character. For the next session, we decided to start over with much less story and more about combat. That's good. Ease them into the story later, just get them used to the combat, enjoying the combat grind, and then slowly but surely introduce them to NPCs and get them used to the storytelling part of it. Shoving food down your throat to gain health back. Oh my god, why is that not a mechanic? Why is that actually unironically not a mechanic? Oh, that's incredible. I love that. Sorry, it's just so silly. Can of worms. This happened a year ago, and I think I've given it enough time. Warning, mentions of CP, sexual themes, and racist themes. I am curious now because of how much of a disaster. I mean, you're setting it up for being a disaster of a story, but is this worth it? Screw it, we'll try it. I've been lucky enough to not have many horror story-esque moments in my TTRPG life. I've been playing since 2019, primarily D&D 5e, but I've played other systems, Beam Saber and Lancer. I've played with the same group of people that got me into TTRPGs, and now I even live with some of them. This story pertains to a person, referred to as Walter later on, that used to be in this group, but seemingly pissed off everyone for entirely different reasons. I'll be focusing on mine, but touching up on the other problems. To paint a picture, he was kind of a person to be on Reddit all day, struggled to talk to people, by his own admission, and was very touchy with everyone at the table. For the longest time, I was cool with him. I wouldn't do one-on-one hangouts, but that was more of us not getting that close. We were, however, more than willing to help each other out on various projects at film school. He acted in 2 of my films, and I did a lot of acting and technical stuff on his. That was our bond. We grew close based off of our hopes to make it in the #the-industry, pay your writers and actors. Where problems began with his TTRPG mindset, he had a phrase of, CR is just a number. Now I know 5e CR is whack sometimes, but I still use it as a baseline when encounter building. I think most people do. Yeah, it's a little bit of a mess, but I mean it's a decent baseline, kinda. He on the other hand leans into a whack and build completely atrocious encounters. He DMs a regretfully lived campaign that ran for 4, maybe 5 sessions. We, I think 5 of us, were level 3 and he threw a rock at us, plus like 20 bird swarms. Not to run from a cool sequence, but to genuinely fight. His other encounters boiled down to, oh, you guys are messed up, but look, here's this cool homebrew monster to help win the fight, lol. He had a horrible homebrew addiction. That campaign fizzled fast. In our group, 5+ years campaign, there came a point where narratively his current character had to leave for a bit. His second character was a cleric to the Raven Queen, but was inspired by his MAGA QAnon mother. What does that even mean? I didn't know about that until after he was kicked, but man, does that recontextualize a lot of things. The character was also apparently the leader of an offshoot sect of the Raven Queen that was just a stand-in for the alt-right. Many times he openly compared them to the Cringe Kids Club. We'll just go with that, the Cringe Kids Club. Once we learned that, we were starting to get uncomfortable. Yeah, I'd probably be uncomfortable as well. This already is kind of more than I can handle. Why do you choose this story of all stories? But I'm already too deep, let's keep going. I was a DM for him in my first ever campaign. He played his character like the innocent child that can snap at any moment. His play was filled with, that's what my character would do, and rule bending, 2 things that I became better at discerning because of him. Towards the end of this tenure at my table, he started to get really annoyed when I would be hard on a rule. I'll admit there were things that I could have left aside, but I was very raw. Mid-games he started to come to me with, because I could do X, that means I can do Y, when by both rules and logic he can't. The frustrating bit came when I said no, and he'd say, you never let me do anything fun, or, but when we talked yesterday you said I could, or, I feel like you're attacking me because XYZ. God, the guy sounds actually insufferable. These are the kind of people you can't really have at the table because, like, they try to argue for stuff and they keep saying like, but you said I could do this. No, I didn't. But because of this, I could do this. No, because I said no. But why don't you let me do anything? I'll let you do a lot of things except the things that could break the game. Anything else? Seriously, at some point you gotta realize that you're breaking the boundaries and you're pushing the boundaries. I probably should be pushing because the DM is definitely gonna be in on them and gonna be just, I just don't understand. If the DM says no, move on. Give up on the thing. Why can't you just have some fun? Why can't you just have a fun where everybody can have fun, man? Why does your fun has to be something, probably gotta be something metagaming or game breaking or something busted as hell. I mean, the fact that it goes past the rules and logic, I mean, probably, yeah. I think all former first-time DMs can say this really messes with how you run the game. I got really nervous about running games and I was too scared to talk to him, thinking I would ruin not only my game, but the 5+ year game that we were both players in. He also had a second character in my campaign that was a female anthropomorphic porcupine. Almost every session he put his character in a situation where she would flash her tits or reminisce about the time she flashed her tits. Another thing that made me uncomfortable that I was too nervous to bring up to him. I wonder, what would have happened if you were to bring it up to him early? Would you guys probably had a fight? Maybe you come to an understanding? Maybe something would have happened that you would have to not deal with that? Listen, if you feel uncomfortable about a situation, no matter what the situation is, you need to speak up. If not to the player, maybe first to the DM. Tell him, hey DM, this other guy is doing something that's extremely uncomfortable for me and I'm not vibing with that. Why is the other DM okay with that? If they're both players in a 5+ year campaign with the porcupine that's flashing their biddies, I guess, why does the DM just allow it? Is it just the DM is like, yeah, I'll allow it. I'll allow some porcupine tits, no problem. What? What's going on here? Came to a head, oddly enough, not at the table, but on a film set. My DM is also a film student, and he asked us to help with his thesis. By the way, it was the best thing I've ever worked on. I was used mainly as an extra, but Walter got the role of a bartender. He used an actual bar with actual drinks. Everyone knew not to touch any of the bar-owned merchandise. So imagine my shock to see this guy pouring drinks. I walk over and say, dude, what the hell? You can't touch that. He says, no, I'm actually using that water tap. I checked and he's telling the truth. After a sigh of relief, I reminded him not to actually touch the alcohol. It gives me what I can only genuinely describe as a cheeky grin, almost to say, well, maybe. I reiterate the rule and walk away. I thought that was that. Game host, I like to put 100 on. He's totally gonna do that. Let's see if I win. Flash forward to the wrap-up party and everyone is looking at the behind-the-scene photos. He's not there for one reason or another. But whatever, I thought. We side through a few photos until one with him comes on the projector. I hear from someone, man, that guy was sloshed every day on set. I turn and rebuttal with, no, Walter was just using the water. This opens the floodgates of other people, confirming him drinking from the bar, and even offering other actors drinks. I'm in total disbelief. The guy that acts extremely weird and sus and everything decides he's gonna be weird and sus. The fact that you didn't even see it, I mean, maybe hindsight 2020 and stuff, but like, we probably all knew that he's gonna do that. Some people just can't help themselves. They literally can't help themselves. I tried to get in contact with him to see if this was true, but he doesn't respond to me. Later, he confirms the stories to another person. I was hurt. Felt like a fool for trying to defend him. For the next 2 weeks, he flakes on coming to any game he was in with us. During those 2 weeks, I learned about what he's doing to another player. Walter has been sending various inappropriate images pertaining... Now, to me right now, the thing is censored, so I'm gonna click on the link. I have it here, and I'm gonna see what that censorship is. If it's bad, I'm not saying or showing it on here. I don't know if showing this on video is gonna get me in trouble or not, but I'm gonna just describe it as underage stuff and clowning around, and try to make several sexual advances on them. I don't remember everything, but those were the standouts. It felt like floodgates or problematic behaviors opened up and slammed into me. When he finally showed up to one of my sessions, he had the audacity to ask, "Are you mad at me?" I was honest with him and said, "Yes, I'm furious. When this campaign is over, there's like 4 sessions left, I will not be letting you come back to my table." Bruh, you should have just kicked him out right there. Why wait for 4 sessions? Why give him 4 more sessions? What's the point? If you genuinely don't want to be around the guy and you don't want to be involved with him, kick him out. Literally, kick him out. Sometimes it's not worth having problem people, whether it be in TTRPGs or in life around. You just gotta remove them out of your life. And this guy clearly is, well, somebody that I wouldn't want to associate with. I don't think anybody decent would want to associate with whatsoever. Getting sloshed at somebody else's filming and then doing that? Jesus Christ. The only thing the guy needs is a ticket far away from you as possible just to get him out of your life and out of your system. Preferably the ocean, the bottom of the ocean. He nodded his head and left shortly after. He removed himself from my table and was kicked from a 5+ year table. It all still feels weird to me. Felt like all this dirty laundry came out at once. Added his behavior at the table, it doesn't even seem real. So much bad so fast. Me, I got whiplash. I don't even resent him anymore, I just feel pity. I bet you took him forever. Yeah, to you it feels like, just out of nowhere, but maybe because sometimes we tend to ignore the signs of bad people doing bad things, or we want to be blind to them. And I mean, you try to vouch for the guy because maybe he seems trustworthy, maybe you generally mean well, but some people, they abuse when other people mean well. Some people don't care when other people mean well. They will take you when you mean well to them, and they will abuse it and use it and manipulate it and try to do whatever they can to it in order to try to gaslight you or whatever, because that's how they operate. They don't care for morality. They can care for decency. This guy, Walter, he's not a decent guy. He's not a decent person in the slightest. He's a freak. He's weird. He's just strange to be around. He lies and he deceives and he is just scummy. He's hella scummy. Don't associate yourself and don't spend time with people that are terrible for you. Find people that are going to be worth your time. Find people that are going to be worth your investment of just involving yourself with them, and spend time with them, not with Walter over here. Walter can go eat a dick at the bottom of the ocean, at the bottom of the sea. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.